everyone, I'm Rita Peterson with Everything Homemade, and welcome to the series of Gardening with Rita, and of course with the rest of the family. Okay, so it is not just me, it's everyone involved, and what I really want to do this year is dive right into gardening heavy. Because of COVID-19, there is a lot of new gardeners out there that have seeds, and now what do I do? Where do I begin? How do I grow a garden? Can I grow this plant in a container? Do I need to put this in the ground? How much sun? Does it need lots? Does it need little? You get the point. There's so many questions that everybody has. So what I'm going to do is, now this is going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort on our part, but I am willing to do it for you, is we are going to film what we are doing today. Then I am going to basically edit, put up on YouTube the next day or within 2 days of whatever we're doing. We're going to film what we're doing in the garden, and then we're going to put it up on YouTube right away. So I want to have this dynamic way of teaching you so you can follow us really close. Now, you are going to see the pitfalls of gardening. You're going to see the miraculous plants growing. You are also going to see some things that won't work. I have gardened for many years. My mom was a gardener, my grandma was a gardener, her mom was a gardener. You get the point. So I've got a lot of tricks to show you, but it also depends on what the year is. Last year it was so cold. We hardly had the sun, and we had tons of plants die, but we had lots of plants that made it. It all depends on the year. So let's pray that this year is good for us and for you, as you need to put some food away with all these lockdowns and quarantines, and it's just insane what has happened in 2020 here. Let's start by growing our own food. Now, where do you start? So first thing is first, let's use the hashtag gardening with Rita. So let's do that. You can join me on Twitter at homemade Rita. Join me and let's hashtag. Again, use the hashtag gardening with Rita. If you're on Facebook, join me on my Facebook page at Rita Peterson. If you continue to join me here on YouTube, definitely comment. I love to really touch base with you. So let's dive in here. So the first step we have here is our seeds, and you can see that sprawled across. I have 6 kids ranging from the ages of 12 all the way down to my youngest, which is 19 months old. So we got all ages of gardening, and I'm going to show you how you can connect with every age group and how to get them involved, even from the youngest one. So we've got a lot of different seeds here. Now, I usually order from a heritage place, but we were given all these other seeds a few years ago. I've done a germination test. Now, if you don't know what a germination test or how to do it, right here, you guys, will be a video that dives good into depth on how to do a germination test. So watch that, pause this video, go ahead and watch that. It's a short video, and basically what I've done was taken every group of seeds and did a germination test to see if these seeds were still viable, and I got a 90% to 95% germination rate, so we are golden. So what we're going to do here today is my kids here are going to separate these seeds into groupings. So into bean seeds, into tomato seeds, all those kind of groupings, and I really advise you to organize your seeds. So I'm going to take the camera, I'm going to give my kids instructions, and you're going to see what we're looking at, and we're going to flip over some of the packages, and I'm going to show you how to read those packages so you know how to grow your seeds. So I've got a lot of different age groups here, and the biggest thing is, when you want to do gardening, teach your children. Teach them, because they are our next generation. Okay, let's get down to work here, you guys. So what I want, Orion, you can take that bag. You two over here, you take that bag. Meadow, you can just continue to play with that bag. It's all about play with the young ones, you guys. Anyone under 3 years old, they want to get involved. Get them touching, get them feeling, get them playing with whatever you're doing. They may make a mess, but that's okay. Okay, let's see here. Nova, I want you to take this bag here, seeds. And Ocean, I want you to deal with this one. So you guys, what we're gonna do is I'm going to start with Orion. Orion, you have a bag full of bean seeds and some peas. So what I want you to do is just dump this bag out. Now, let's start with beans, you guys. There are 2 types of beans. Orion, do you know what those 2 types of beans are?
Bush beans and pole beans?
You got it. There's bush beans and pole beans. So let's take a look at this package here. This one says here, it is a bean red noodle pole. So the key word here is pole. Pole means that they are going to be vining beans, which means that they're going to be plus 5 feet tall. So you need to have support. If you don't have support, you want bush beans. Now let's see here. Perfect. Thank you, Orion. So this package here says that word bush. Now bush beans mean that, let's say this is the table, they're gonna get 2 feet tall, sometimes 3 feet, but no more than that. And these are really good to grow in open rows in your garden. They do not need support. And these are the beans that I really like growing. Now, if I want to have some, fun, or I have somewhere to put pole beans, I will. But this year, I'm going to concentrate on bush beans because we have an open concept garden, and that's what I want to do. Now, if you're in the city and you need to go vertical, this is what you want is pole beans, because if you, let's say, have, against the house or somewhere where you got to go up, do pole beans. So Orion, what I want you to do with these seeds is I want you to make a pile for pole beans and for bush beans. Okay? So now let's talk about, you got peas here? We got peas. Okay? This one's called, you got like sugar peas, you got lots of different kind of varieties. Pick what you want to eat. If you like snap peas, if you like eating the shells, if you don't like eating the shells, pick something. You got same thing, you got different heights, okay? With beans. With peas, sorry. So take a look. If you have, just wait till I'm done talking a second. If you have a garden spot that you can do rows, do shorter beans, shorter peas. I like, 3 feet and shorter. If you can trellis them in the middle of your row, do it taller. Okay? The other thing is with beans, and peas is you want around 65-70 days of growing. So that means that they need that time to mature. We are in northern Alberta, Canada. And do we have a lot of growing days, Ocean?
Not as much as some places.
Not as much as some places. Literally, we put in our garden at the end of May. In June, we still have, what's that killer, you guys?
Frost.
We still have frost by June 3rd. Isn't that crazy? So we really only have June, July, and August. So that's 30, 60, 90 days if we have good weather. But technically, we really only have about 67 to 75 days of growing, because you have to account that there's going to be some days that are bad weather, which will halt in their growing. So when you're looking at peas and beans and carrots and red beet, stuff that you are sowing right into the ground, you want as many short days as possible for those plants to grow. So like this package here says, 65 days right there. That's what you're looking at if you are in Northern Alberta, Canada, and you got a zone. We are zone 2 to 3. You want short growing time as possible. So Ryan, you're going to do that. Okay, Ocean. Actually, I'm going to go around here to Nova. Okay, Nova, so it's your turn and you got the herb bag. So again, we are sorting for seeds and you'll see the point of this in a moment. I'm going to go through these herbs, but then we're going to take all these seeds and we're going to figure out which ones to start now, which are 7 weeks before we plant, which ones to start 4 weeks before we plant, and so forth and so on. So, we've got herbs here. If you were planting caraway, you would want to start them now because, like I said, they need some time. So cumin, caraway, fennel, oregano, thyme. We got savory here. We got sage, basil, rosemary. All of these herbs here, you want to start now. You want to start them because they do take extra time if you are living up in the north. Now, if you are in warmer climates, this is totally different and you got to adjust this to your climate. I'm going to teach how to garden in a cold zone because that's what I know. So these things, all of these herbs, start now. Okay, you have, ooh, we got some chamomile seeds. Yay. Anyway, so we basically organize these when you need to start them about 7 weeks ahead of time. Okay, so let's say you have, you have garlic chives. Chives you need to start earlier. Sorrel grows really, really quick. And you can definitely start this right into the garden. So keep organizing there, Nova. You're doing an awesome job. Okay, we got Grace and Annika here, got a bag full of a mishmash. Let's just say that. Carrots. Carrots, again, depends on your soil. If you got really, really sandy, awesome soil that your carrots can go right into, then you want to pick a variety. You can pick really long varieties. If you got heavy clay soil like I do, I want, little shorter and stubbier carrots. And there are tons of varieties, so just read the back. A lot of gardening sites are really, really specific on how the carrots are grown and what kind of dirt they do well in. But carrots, we can just sow them into the garden. Cabbage on the other thing is definitely 4 weeks before we go into the garden. And cabbage is cabbage. There's no, bush or vining cabbage, so you don't really got to worry about that. Peppers are peppers. They come in different heights, so really just read the height. They all need to be started earlier as peppers are, take on average 65 to 100 and some days. But what I do look for in peppers is the shorter growing periods, or shorter growing time. So I'm looking for peppers that are, ripe in 65 to 80 days. Those are the peppers that I'm looking for. Okay, so you also have a little bit of herbs. So let's give these herbs to Nova. But this is one of my favorites, you guys. Sweet marjoram. Oh my words, marjoram in stews and in soups and on scrambled eggs. Oh, I love it. Okay, enough of that, right? Mom's gonna get lost in the seeds. Okay, so parsley. This is all parsley. Parsley, you can, I like to start a bit of ahead of time because parsley can take like 3 weeks to germinate. You can also germinate in the ground, but it's a long germination. It takes a long time for parsley to germinate, so be prepared. It sometimes can take up to 3 weeks to germinate. Okay, what else we got here? Cabbage again. No problem. You can either sow in the garden or 4 weeks ahead of time. Zucchini. I like to do about 4 weeks ahead of time. So so let's do that. Red beets, sow directly into the garden. Now, it doesn't matter what kind of red beets you're doing. Literally, they all can be directly sowed in the garden. My favorite is Slendria red beets because they take less room. So if you are in a tight space in your garden, Slendria red beets are what you want. They are longer, so you can really jam pack them closer together than more of a circular kind. But in all honesty, it really doesn't matter when you sow them. Just get them in the garden. They can handle frost. Carrots and red beets can handle frost if there is a frost overnight and your seeds are in. So no big deal with that. Actually, they'll germinate better. What else we got here? You got some lettuce, definitely. This is like the first thing I plant in the garden is lettuce, isn't it? Because it loves the cold and it'll germinate really quick. Cucumbers, 4 weeks in advance. So we'll definitely do cucumbers. So what I want you guys to do, you got a cucumber on your side. So what I want you to do is I'm going to give some herbs here to Nova because you're on herb side of things. What I want you to do, Grace and Annika, is I want you to get all the ones that are 4 weeks that I've mentioned in a pile and all the ones that are going to be self-sowed into another. Okay? Okay, Ocean, we are to you. Wow, look at this, isn't it? Okay, let's start here. We got an endive. This can be sowed directly into the garden without a problem. They say you can, start it. There's always instructions in the back. Depending on, your garden, if you want to harvest earlier, sow them ahead of time in a pot. If you don't, then they can go directly in the garden. Like a lettuce, you can plant them when it's a bit cooler. Okay, so the same with the lettuce. I'm not going to go over that. Kale, I like to start ahead of time for a cool reason. Those mean and nasty what?
Cabbage moths.
That's right.
They eat it and lay their eggs and be mean to it.
That's right. They do. And so if you sow them ahead of time, you know what happens? You beat the cycle before they lay. So we basically will start them now. We'll plant them in the garden way earlier before the cabbage moths come out. And then we harvest the whole thing, dry it into kale chips, and we got beautiful kale. How does that sound?
Yummy.
Take that, cabbage moths, eh? So the other thing is if you do have cabbage moths, you can also put a netting around your kale to prevent them from laying eggs and devouring and eating all your kale up. Spinach goes right into the ground. Ocean, you got cabbage here that should go off to Grace.
That's not cabbage, that's broccoli.
Broccoli is in the cabbage family. Okay, so broccoli here we want to do 4 weeks in advance, so those seeds can go off to Grace. Sage, we went through that already. That can give to Nova. Yeah, head that off to Nova.
What about this?
That is Aguilera, is a hotter lettuce, so we'll just add that with the lettuce there. Swiss chard, definitely grow seed right into the garden. No problem there. Spinach right into the garden. Onions, that's a good time. They kind of take their sweet biffy time. They almost need to be started like seriously 16 to 20 weeks ahead of time because they're so slow in getting going. So if you got onion seeds, like sow them in February. So we're way too late for that. But yeah, sow them in February, and then you're going to have to then transplant them to garden. Let's see, what do we got here?
These are all the ones.
These are all lettuce, exact. All this lettuce again, right into the garden. Tomatoes, ooh, is a right now. Tomatoes and peppers we need to sow right now. You need to sow about 7 weeks to 8 weeks ahead of time, and all variety of tomatoes. Now, with tomatoes, there are 2 varieties. Do you know what those are, Ocean?
No.
No. Okay, there's called a determined tomato and an indeterminate tomato. What in the world is that? Okay. Simply is determined tomatoes is grown to a determined size. So let's say a 3 foot, sometimes 4 foot size. They grow no taller than that. Indeterminate means, can you guess?
They just grow on and on and on.
That's right. They just go on and on and on, and forever they grow until the frost hits them, or you trim them right back. Let's say if you live in a warm climate, they'll just forever grow. Okay? In cold climates, we like determined because we do not have that time for the plants to continuously grow forever. We need to have them to grow now, get to the height, start ripening their fruit so we can harvest before the frost comes. So we're always in a rush, aren't we, in the garden? It's a go, 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 come on, come on, come on, come on, come on feeling when we're gardening because that is just where we live. So if you are in a warm climate and have tons of growing time, indeterminate, go ahead. If you aren't, determined tomatoes is what you want. Now, let's see if we can find somewhere that says that on the package.
I'll look on this one.
Okay, on these ones here.
Indeterminate.
Where is it?
Indeterminate.
Okay, so this tomato right here, and if you read on the package, right there is your word. Indeterminate means that they are going to grow big. So some of these packaged seeds I'm going to just donate to somebody and send them out. So
Indeterminate.
if you need indeterminate tomato seeds, I'm going to have some more. So a lot of these I won't use, so I'm going to maybe just do a post if there's local people around here. Then you can have some indeterminate tomato seeds. This one here,
Determined.
do you see that word right there? It says determined. These are tomatoes that only grow to a specific height, and that's the ones that I want in my garden. So we're gonna go through that. So Ocean, what I want you to do is I will need you to separate those seeds into determined and indeterminate varieties, and we'll give away some for free.
Determined.
Okay, what else do you have here, Ocean? You have radish watermelons, which is basically, there's radishes that look like watermelons. They can just go right into the garden. So that's a really, really quick overview. If you got flowers that you want to plant in your garden, because hey, gardening with flowers is beautiful, start them now. What I'm missing is marigold seeds here. I'm going to see if Daddy can get some marigold seeds in town. The half of where we live is all shut down. So it'll just see if he can get me some marigold seeds, because I like planting marigolds with my cabbage plants because they really, who hates marigolds? What little moths?
Cabbage moths.
Cabbage moths hate marigolds, but there's one slimy thing that hates it. Slugs. You guys, slugs hate marigolds. So we want to get some marigolds all over the garden, and I need marigold seeds. Okay, so for today, we are just going to make a game plan on what we're doing with our seeds. And tomorrow, we are going to start. Now, this is how we organize things. We want to get a mental idea on what we need to do, what seeds need to get planted now, what seeds in 4 weeks, and what seeds need to go directly into the garden. Now, if you are container growing, this is going to be a little different. Let's say you are on a balcony. Let's say you don't have a garden plot. Then you know what? If it's a warmer place and you have the ability to carry in your pots, you can start everything right now and just put it outside. Just got to make sure you bring them in if you are in an area where you're going to get frost still. So be creative there a bit. We do have a garden plot. We are going to do some container gardening mixed with most of our stuff in the garden. So there you have it. All the seeds in 2 separate bags and labeled. So now we can take a bag and we know exactly what we are going to grow and exactly the variety. So this is a really good organizational So this will be very, very helpful in what we need to do and what we need to start tomorrow. So we'll see you tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed this video. Again, all the links for everything that I have said are either at the end of this video or in the description box. And I hope you have a great Friday. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.